do a couple of things. Okay. Then let's all assume that I did it, okay? That's what you want me to say, right? Ah! As though she'd given up and decided to be useless to try and talk her way out of this any longer. Natsuhi screamed that out. It was a sad incident. I wanted to believe that despite the pitiable circumstances that led to her marriage into the Ushinomiya family, Natsuhi just might have been able to grasp a sliver of happiness together with Uncle Kraus and Jessica. However, by Aunt Natsuhi's own doing, Uncle Kraus, and even her beloved daughter Jessica, had been heartlessly killed. It was even hard to believe that grandfather had been an accomplice and hid the corpses. However, judging by the clear testimony given by several people who knew him, grandfather's mental state for the last few years had been far from what anyone would consider normal. Perhaps, possessed by a mad devotion to his mistress he had lost long ago, grandfather might have truly believed Aunt Natsuhi was the reincarnation of Beatrice. Wait a minute, there is a hint in here. Where's grandfather now? Like Eric had theorized, did he really believe he could revive Beatrice by carrying out the murders following the epitaph? Succumbing to Natsuhi's cajolery? Right now, is he holding some kind of disturbing ceremony with the bodies he carried away? Are you satisfied now? This is what you wanted to make me say, right? Aunt Natsuhi sobbed as she spoke. This is your revenge, isn't it? You, the man from 19 years ago! This man from 19 years ago that Aunt Natsuhi kept mentioning was supposedly someone who had caught her in some sort of trap. However, she only mentioned that this man from 19 years ago existed, and she most certainly hadn't tried to explain what had happened 19 years ago. I'm sure that man's underling is one among us here. I'm sure that right now that man is ridiculing me from one of you. Then tell me, are you happy now? Has that bit of pain and suffering you endured for 19 years gone away? I finally understand. The reason you cornered me so far is because you wanted to make me acknowledge that, right? Natsuhi, other than us, there's absolutely no one here. Please stop this insane charade and quit pretending that someone who doesn't actually exist does. Erica laughed mockingly, but as Aunt Natsuhi looked at us, no, as she looked at some being behind us, she hung her head and shook. Then she confessed to her sin. I committed murder. So you finally acknowledged your crime directly? No, this is not about what happened today and yesterday. I will confess to a murder that occurred 19 years ago. The adults all whispered together, wondering what this was all about, because they had never heard about a murder case 19 years ago. 19 years ago, I committed a sin. I couldn't forgive it. That baby! Baby? Now what are you talking about? On that day 19 years ago, Father entrusted me with a baby. Since I couldn't bear his sister on my own, Father told me to adopt a child. And he made me hold a baby that he said had been brought here from an orphanage. Do you have any idea how humiliating that was to me as a woman? With a mix of conflicting emotions of anger, sadness, regret, and possibly defiance, Aunt Natsuhi confessed. Her humiliation as a woman when she was no longer expected to bear a child, and also the indescribably unpleasant feeling of being made to hold an unfamiliar baby. It caused her a great sadness and rage, and before very many nights passed, it ate a hole into her heart. And then I sold my soul to demons. It happened when I went on a walk through the rose garden to the harbor, along with the servant holding the baby. I wanted to be alone, but that female servant holding the baby faithfully followed me everywhere. I was unable to even tell her to stop following me, and therefore unable to escape from the child's crime. That day marked the beginning of 19 long headache-filled years. Then we faced the cliff from across the fence. If by taking that baby and throwing it down into the rocky beach far below me, I could undo it all. I really did listen to that demon's temptation. And for the smallest moments, I thought of how wonderful it would be if I could really do that and lend an ear to that temptation. At that time, the servants holding the baby stepped on a large rock and twisted her ankle and staggered. She leaned against the rough fence, and at that time I thought I heard the fence creak loudly. I told her to look out and try to grab her shoulder. No, I shouldn't be so vague. I'll repent. I'll confess. At that moment, I'm sure that, as I told her to look out, with both hands, I reached for that servant's shoulder, and with a thud, pushed her away hard. The rough fence snapped from the base, and the servant, along with the baby held in her arms, fell down toward the rocky beach below. Even though I remember that moment vividly, for some reason, I recall a vague and very strange feeling. It almost felt as though, instead of falling, the two of them were silently swallowed up into an empty space, so I didn't even hear the sound of them crashing to the rocky beach. No, I'm sure I heard it, but because I wanted to think that they disappeared, I must have erased that sound from my memory. And then, for an instant, I thought it was a dream. It was high enough that I couldn't see the two of them below me just by leaning over, so I didn't know whether their fall or a few seconds before that had actually happened or not. I must have been wishing so strongly that the child would fall that I just had a daydream, trying to make myself believe that this, and hurried back to the rose garden. Then I decided to let the servant take care of the baby, choosing to take a rest alone in the garden. Then, Father asked what had happened to the baby, and an uproar began over the disappearance of a servant who had been in charge over it. Eventually the broken fence was discovered, and the two corpses were found at the bottom of the cliff. The child had apparently been there for reasons that couldn't become known, so its existence was hushed up, and the official story was that the servant had had an accident of her own and died. That's right. I stole away 2 innocent lives in one go. As for the poor servant, her family was graciously compensated. Her aged husband, who didn't know the truth, accepted this, even though he grieved over the unfortunate accident. Just a few years ago, he died of old age. I confessed over the truth of his grave, apologizing. But until this day, I have never apologized to that baby. Yes, that's what you're after, isn't it? So right here, right now, I confess to my crime. I, Ushiramiya Natsuhi, did 19 years ago push you off a cliff and tried to kill you. But you didn't die, did you? You're still alive, and you still call me mother. You came to this island and took your revenge on me, didn't you? For these 19 years, you knew that the one who should have called your mother pushed you off a cliff, and you must have lived a very hate-filled life. And now you've taken everything I've gained since pushing you off that cliff, 18 years of my life, and smashed it all to pieces. I no longer have my beloved husband and daughter, and I've lost even my honor, and I'm being called a murderer. No, I really am a murderer, aren't I? Yes, that's right. It all went according to your plans. I'm now regarded as a killer. How's that? Is this enough for your revenge? My husband and daughter have been killed. I've been made to look like a murderer, like an adulteress even. After seeing me live in disgrace like this, are you satisfied? Yes, I'll bet you're quite satisfied, because my family, my honor, everything has been stolen from me.
After all this, do you still claim that you were framed? Seriously, you just don't know when to give up.
Can you hear me? You, the cursed child from 19 years ago! Are you satisfied now? You've stolen everything from me now! What else could you want? Please, just forgive me. It's useless, isn't it?
Battler, did you say something?
It's all useless.
Battler!
Yeah. It's useless, isn't it? It's all useless. I don't know if I can read all that, so I'll just let it be quiet this time. Fifth game, End of the Golden Witch. Okay, so there is something I want to say. So after Natsuhi revealed this in episode 5, go back and look at a scene in episode 1. Because, okay, this is where the reread value starts to go up in Umineko. Okay? There's a lot of things that just parallel. I like to think that whatever happened in episode 1, I think where we first focus on Natsuhi, I think she was being called out through Maria. If you remember. Like, go back and read that yourself and think about that. Like, because through all these revelations, it's always like, it's something. Plus, what else do I wish to say? I said I would read the thing. The one thing I want to also say is, because, like, when I think about what Natsuhi says in episode 5, I feel like in episode 1, where she's also being called out there, but, like, you should look back at these yourself. I don't always want to be like, you should go back and look at this point because of this and this and this, and I don't want to, like, just say this is why there's, like, a reread value and all that stuff through this revelation, because it's kind of like, because then it cheapens the experience. I don't always want to do that, so I'll just say, I don't want to try to say this is the significance of blah blah blah, or what I think is the significance. Okay? This is just a freebie that I gave, that I just said. It's just something to look at and always consider, or something. Alright. Let's go through the tea party now. Let's read through the tips. The Red Key. A weapon for emergencies used by official inquisitors of heresy. It belonged to Eisern Jungfrau, Dalnor's primary weapon. Yes, you did! We did it! We're going through the tea party number 5, but I have to read these 2 tips first. Unlike a normal weapon, whose purpose is to cause physical damage, this special tool is known as a conceptual weapon. It is used to deny the existence of concepts. Regardless of whether the target is physical, mental, or conceptual, it is impossible to use any defensive concepts such as physical barriers, mental quarantine, or conceptual inheritance to defend against this weapon. Because of the concepts themselves are denied, even the concept of resisting attack does not exist. It is impossible for the target to endure it regardless of their stamina. Furthermore, all supernatural methods of buying time such as teleportation, time reversal, revivals, and inheritance are impossible. Because denials of concepts conform to verdict procedures dictated by the Great Court, all future concepts that disobey them will be denied automatically. In addition, where the Red Key operates within a complete barrier, all concepts of evasion cannot be successful. Defense is impossible, evasion is impossible, buying time is impossible. This alternate conceptual weapon is the embodiment of these 3 impossibilities. A strict investigation by the Great Court of Heaven is required for the use of the Red Key. Because of this, the act of dispatching Dalnor, who arms herself with it, is equivalent to a death sentence. In this world, Senator Lambda Delta has placed restrictions on its use and power. The Blue Key. The primary weapon used by the official quitters of heresy belonging to the Eisern Jungfrau. Like the Red Key, it is a conceptual weapon, but instead of denying the existence of concepts, it is used to create self-doubt and force others to deny themselves. For this reason, it is called the Blue Key of Reflection, in contrast with the Red Key of Judgment. Unlike the Red Key, it is possible to invade and defend against it. However, while the use of Red Key has severe restrictions regarding how it can be used, the Blue Key can be wielded with great ease and manipulated with will in all situations. Furthermore, because of the shapes of the conceptual weapons are themselves purely conceptual, their outward appearance differs depending on the Inquisitor using them. In Dalnor's case, they appear as a long sword and a short sword, but some of them use them in the forms of spears or guns, while others make them take the shape of phenomena such as magic or miracles. The red and blue charms used by Gertrude and Cornelia are yet another shape taken by these keys. Alright. Let's see. Anything else about them? No, we've already... Ouch. Okay. Yep. And now we can just go back and start the tea party. Erika, Dalnor.
Yes, my master. You called.
I want you to disdain this fragment and explain everything in the remaining 1st through 4th games. That pitiful transient witch who supports the illusion of the witch no longer exists herself. Expose the naked truth thoroughly.
Leave it to me, my master. There is no riddle that I, Bruno Erika, cannot solve.
Of course. That's why you're my peace, my devil.
Berncasta wore a massive and horrible smile, which Erika shared. Beatrice's illusion of the witch would disappear, and the results of all the previous games would be painted over. Yeah, this part. But not the part with Kinzo. That's over, at least. That's the... Yeah. It had been crushed in every way possible, and only the naked truth remained. Such a weak truth is no better than a fish on the chopping board for Erika.
It is possible to explain all the past 4 games with Natsuhi the criminal, or with certain irregularities based off that theme. I won't let anyone say it's the crime of the witch Beatrice again. I'll start compiling it together at once and present it as a first-rate tale to you.
You mustn't leave even a single fragment of Beato's legend of the witch behind. The rumors among the servants, the way people talked about the unexplained events, as though the legend was the cause, the illusion of the witch that worked alongside the illusion of Kinzo. Deal with all of them completely.
Of course. I'll get to it right away. We now have the future furniture in custody.
Oh, don't worry. We're past that part.
We're hurrying to identify their vessels.
The 7 Sisters of Purgatory had already been taken into custody. Those noisy sisters who had served Beato now faced nothing but denial. What sort of illusion were they based upon that allowed them to manifest? Everything would be exposed and denied.
Eisner-Jungfrau has already begun its investigation. According to the most recent results, there is a high probability that they were constructed during the 1960s in the vicinity of New York, and aid has already been sent to that location.
The 1960s. The Seven Sisters of Purgatory are made in the USA. Even though they bragged about being furniture connected with King Solomon and serving a 1,000-year-old witch, they're a total sham. Who was it?
According to the report, there's this group of big-time swindlers who make money by selling fakes to rich fans of the occult. Because the deceived millionaires tried to resell the fakes as though they were real, there is a chance they have been falsely deified by enthusiasts in the field. We are rushing to find confirmation and further details.
So Ushiromiya Kinzo was a sucker who'd pay big bucks for any fake occult object. And that's what the Seven Sisters of Purgatory really are. That's hilarious.
A total sham, just like Beato's illusion of the witch.
Oh, I think that was Burn Castle. My bad, I am an idiot. Let's try that again.
And that's what the Seven Sisters of Purgatory really are. That's hilarious. A total sham. Just like Beato's illusion of the witch.
Okay. I don't know.
Though they call themselves the Seven Deadly Sins, they're actually cheap fake souvenirs. Well, from the very beginning, I figured they were nothing more than paperweights sold at some shady souvenir shop.
Paperweights. Have you confronted the Seven Sisters with that truth yet?
No, not yet. They still seriously believe that they were created by the great sorcerer over 1,000 years ago. I'd like to confront them with the perfect evidence of the truth right away, and let them know that they're mere paperweights worth less than $30.
When you do, I wonder what their faces will look like as they lose all hope. I can't wait. Call for me when that happens. I'll come to watch with some of the best black tea and dried plums.
Beato's illusion of the witch has already been penetrated. It's been proven that everything was simply the result of human delusions. What kind of delusions created them, and what caused these in the first place? When the answers were proven perfectly and shoved in the faces of those concerned, the illusion would vanish and be completely annihilated. This is what they meant by execution.
An execution is not a show. As a general rule, it is not made public.
This is an inspection by the great Lady Burncastle, member of the Senate, so she can observe that the great court is performing its duties satisfactorily. Do you, as a mere inquisitor of heresy, wish to deny her this right?
Yeah, that's right. I'm just observing as a representative of the Senate to make sure you follow the proper procedures when you carry out your work.
We're currently preparing to take Virgilia Renove and Gap into custody as well. The Chester Sister Imperial Guards are conducting that investigation.
Of course, we will then detain and execute those three connected to Beatrice.
Dalnor, what is the true nature of the Chester sisters?
We believe there is a high likelihood their vessels are connected to weapons used in the crimes. For this purpose, Senior Aide Gertrude has formed a special team. We are currently investigating all cases.
I'm looking forward to the Chester sisters' execution too. One at a time, or all of them at once.
No one's stupid enough to put an entire can of tea leaves in a pot at once. You've got to enjoy it slowly, one spoonful at a time.
Exactly! Let's have their executions on consecutive days. For the furniture and the witches one by one.
I'll send you an execution show every day.
Wonderful. After all, there really are a lot of them. Looks like we'll be able to enjoy ourselves for a full 2 weeks. Maybe we can let them decide which ones to execute first. Make sure you think of something great for the execution concept. I like to enjoy executions both old and new, from east and west every day.
The rules state the method of execution is to follow the Great Court regulations. Leave it to me, my master. I will most certainly prepare you a fascinating execution show.
Oh, and you'd better quarter at least one of them.
Of course! I shall make a list of the best forms of execution from all countries from Europe to Asia, which were used by kingdoms east and west for crimes no less than treason against the king.
Do some Danganronpa shit to them. Yeah, she played Danganronpa. She's like, I don't know about that Junko Enoshima, but she was very entertaining. I'd like to think of some execution methods myself, pondering that will be the perfect way to relax on those sleepless nights. I'll iron out my ideas and send you a letter soon.
Certainly, my master. Then we'll have the Burn Castle style one as the grand finale. At the very, very end, when all the illusions are broken and Beatrice's magical compendium has been completely crushed, I shall present my master with the finest of execution that she desires. The execution of Beatrice!
Thank you, Erica. Thanks to you, it seems I'll be able to forget the pain of my illness for a little while. You're just perfect. My piece, my double, and my adorable daughter.
Your words are too good for me, my master!
Erica, I'll give you an honor and a reward. And that reward is the greatest symbol of Beatrice, the portrait from the reception hall. Take that off, smash it to make firewood, bake a cake with that and eat it. Then I'll allow you to put your portrait up in the remaining frame. I once observed a game board that involved even observers by letting them use a light gun during certain scenes. Why doesn't your game board have features like that, Beato?
I love how that portrait, when you look at the full image, there's like a dead person's feet by that point. It's like, why is there a dead person by your feet, Erica?
What dead person? This isn't about them. Thank you very much! It's a great honor!
You will eradicate and erase Beatrice's name and all traces of her. Until that is finished, I will order that you be made the master of this sealed-off Rokenjima. By the name of the Witch of Miracles, Burn Castle, I proclaim that you will be given the rank of a witch until that day. From now on, you will call yourself Erica, the Witch of Truth.
The Witch of Truth! Thank you very much, my master! I vow to work even harder so that this honor will not be wasted!
Even though she was nothing more than a piece, she was being granted the honor of calling herself a witch like her master, if only for a brief stretch of time. Erica was so moved that her actions had been acknowledged in this greatest form that she trembled.
Dalnor, continue to aid Erica and report on her progress to me.
As you wish.
By the way, where's Lambda?
She is over there.
From the guest scene from the second floor, she pointed out downwards. Lambda Delta could be seen beneath Balor, who hung there, dead, and pierced by the red longsword. Hold on. That, what you just brought up, it'd be like, it's like, hold on, let me think. Well, what are you talking about? I at least have a quiz. What do you have for interactivity? You have artificial choices.
And other than that, trying to set up 50 puzzle pieces. What? What did you say to me? I mean, that's something that'll only happen in Matsuri Bayashi. It's not really a spoiler thing, but... Why can't battle repair your truce like in Street Fighter 3?
Ushiromi a battler? You were an interesting guy. And you might have even become even more interesting. But too bad.
What a wonderful way to die. Erica, you can hang Balor's corpse in the mansion's reception hall. The next time I come visit this fragment, welcome me in front of it.
Certainly, my master. I'll make that foolish man an eternal monument to my master's victory.
Oh, wait.
That sounds wonderful. Really tasteful. Maybe you can coat him with plaster and make a beautiful white statue. And it'd be wonderful if you redecorate him all cute. Yes, Lady Lambda Delta. I'll strive to answer to your expectations. Congratulations on becoming a witch. That'll just be for a while. I'll welcome you as a friend.
Erica was so overcome with emotion that tears came to her eyes, because for a piece, no greater pleasure exists than having your work acknowledged by your master.
In the end, I'd like to have Beato's stuff too. Then I'll redecorate the reception hall with her.
Galaxy Express?
The one that isn't night on the...
You know, I read that back when I wasn't a witch. I always thought it was strange that humans who obtained eternal life would become so cruel. At the time, I honestly couldn't relate.
After becoming a witch and living 1,000 years, I fully understand it. The writer could understand our cruelty really well, in the true sense.
Well, you go next. I bet we'll say farewell with our backs turned, right?
That's because I don't want to let you get bored.
Thanks, Bern. But you can be sure that I'll count to 100 and start searching for you again.
You really don't let a person get bored. That's why I like you, love you. Let's meet again somewhere. However, we may not be reunited for another 100 or 1,000 years, if ever.
That's okay. The Sea of Fragments is a tiny pair of two who love each other.
The third man.
No, Children of Paradise, of course.
If you could escape the poison of just a single evening's worth of boredom, each time you smash one of those countless fragments that glitter like the starry night, even you would want to count the stars in the sky.
Ooh, not bad.
The Voyager witches travel across the countless glittering futures of possibility and gobble them up, trying to escape their illness called boredom for as long as they can. The tiny fragment created by the human known as Beatrice had now been gobbled up by the two witches. It had lost its glitter. The two had been called themselves earlier rivals in front of Beato, now stopped that charade and laughed together playfully.
Erica, new ruler of this fragment, weave the truth and create the tale that leads up to this world's demise. The next was the 6th game, right?
Yes, it's the 6th game.
Decide the title for episode 6 yourself. After all, you already are the spinner of this tale as well as the master.
Thank you very much. Actually, I've already decided on one.
Oh, already? Then let me hear it. What kind of title is it?
Yes, episode 6. I'd really like to leave you hanging for a bit, but I'd tell you. Come on, stop being a smartass and tell us. A newbie witch like you should be teasing your seniors. Episode 6, Checkmate of the Golden Witch.
Wait until you watch